continuing the I am practice while simply knowing the direction that my residential life was going was quite fruitful. I'd spent the year setting up camp and then building an off-grid tiny house in which I now live, all while making spiritual practice my foundational primary goal. I'm writing this in 2017, the year I turned 60. In March, I changed the experimental status of my celibacy to a lifelong commitment and held a ceremony at the Center for Transformational Practice in White River Junction, Vermont, to affirm that decision among supportive friends. Shortly thereafter, the experience of unconditional love for everything, bliss, returned more steadily, in conjunction with the Seitai massage treatments from Eliza Meeker. For the next 2 to 3 months, I experienced dozens of episodes where the blissful feeling of love was so overpowering that the ego broke down into tears of ecstasy and gratitude. At times, it seemed unbelievable that I could deserve the state that I had reached, because it was so sweetly divine. This was particularly true during one of the Seitai treatments with Eliza, which inspired this poem. Deal of a Lifetime. Meditating twice a day for 45 years. Practicing radical acceptance for 21 years. 11 years of sobriety. 5 years of nearly full-time mindfulness and chastity. Practicing the sense I am nearly full-time for 2 years. All of it done for its own sake. The process is the goal. With no attachment to possible outcomes of shifting consciousness to higher planes. It's the process that's shifting, fed by the fruits of devotion, which come to inspire earnest practice in a positive feedback loop that's a true blessing. Ubiquitous radiant beauty holds me in each moment, automatic mindfulness. While blissfully loving everything, hold habits of the fearful mind are whispers, easy to release. Moments of ecstasy with overwhelming gratitude for the presence of God. Each moment is a precious opportunity to explore I am. 45 minutes into another sweetly painful Seitai deep tissue massage. Energy throbbing down both arms became smooth and strong enough to cradle God. For a full 10 minutes of ecstasy, divine tears of welcome poured from my eyes, with sobs of gratitude and whimpers of humility indescribable. Crying too hard to speak at first, I managed to whimper, joy, and then a croak of grateful. Hopefully my healer would kind of understand. Overwhelmed through it all, I humbly tried to convey, I have no idea how I deserve to be having this experience. I thought, how is this happening to tiny little me? What did I ever do to deserve this? My lifetime of practice couldn't measure up. As the tears subsided, she asked, are you okay? Do you need anything? The feeling of perfect completeness brought a long, hearty laugh. Please don't be offended by my laughter. I'm not offended, but what are you laughing about? Still laughing, I replied, it's impossible. What's impossible? To need anything. These ecstatic episodes lasted anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes, and seemed often to be triggered by seeing something that I would have appreciated as beautiful before I realized the radiant beauty of everything. It was as if the combination of the higher awareness of ubiquitous love and beauty, along with the ego's estimation of beauty, was too much to take in without a very energetic emotional response. These ecstatic moments were something like a spiritual orgasm, at least 10 times more intense than any sexual experience. Naturally, I started to look for when the next one would come. Yet I knew from studying the writings of David Hawkins in his book, Transcending the Levels of Consciousness, The Stairway to Enlightenment, that even this would have to be surrendered to God in order to continue my journey. In April, I had the insight that I was ready to start that process of release. The ecstatic reactions to my state of bliss were just another ego-based experience which stood in the path of spiritual progress. Whenever the feeling of ecstasy started to rise, I breathed through it as I surrendered it to God. During one of these moments, while riding my motorcycle to White River Junction one foggy morning, I was inspired to write this haiku. When ecstasy comes, I let it pass over me, like sun above fog. After a month or two of this process, I rarely broke down into ecstatic tears anymore, and I'd found a new level of peace in the blissful process. In June, during another Seitai massage treatment, I found the I am the witness state that Nisargadatta often mentions in his teachings. As the witness only, I shifted to an awareness of the deep tissue work as a mere pressure, even on muscles which were so tight that I'd been experiencing the pressure as excruciatingly painful only moments before. This was a state of deep peace, where my heart and breath actually slowed to the steady states of a sitting meditation session, even as the deep tissue massage continued. In a subsequent session a couple of weeks later, I was able to reach that state of witnessing by meditating on it for 5 to 10 minutes before the treatment started, so that even the initial deep muscle work was not experienced as painful. My life to date has been such a blessing in so many ways. Even before I started to see these previews of the ultimate awakening, I was very grateful for the abundance of wonderful opportunities, loving relationships, experiences, and material blessings I had. Ever since I broke and dislocated my neck in 1988, I've wanted to give the love that I'd found back to the world. I've done my best to make good on the promise that I prayed that day. Now that I've experienced the peaceful presence of God through my practices, I feel called to finally finish this book and get out into the world to find others who are ready to make wholesome practices such as mindfulness meditation a part of their daily lives. Because the best gift I can think of is the inspiration to explore one's own consciousness and, with the grace of God, to return to one's naturally blissful state.